Okay, so I can see people are joining. So I think now is as good a time as any to get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special masterclass as a part of the Africa Fashion Week London series. If you've been following AFWL for the past few weeks and few months during the whole lockdown, you might have seen that there have been, loads of interesting things going on. Seminars, webinars, panel talks, all sorts of things that have been really interesting for the past few months. This month in June, we have a series of masterclasses that are going on. I believe we had the first couple last week, so the series is continuing today with two incredibly talented and extra special women who I'm about to introduce you to. Their names are Lola and Layo, the Demuren twins. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about them before I hand over to them to get on with the masterclass. So, Let's Dress You Up is an up-and-coming premium image personal styling consultancy. At the helm of this brand is a dynamic duo, the Demuren twins. These identical twin fashionistas had conventional corporate careers in law and human resources, respectively, before turning their energy to image consultancy. Due to their keen sense of style and passion for seeing women gain confidence through their appearance. Quote, "We want every client to go away assured that they have the industry knowledge and the tools required to present the best version of themselves to the world." The duo credits their innate love for fashion to their beloved mother. They believe a great sense of style isn't just about being well turned out, but rather it is a visual representation of one's individuality. So Lola and Layo, welcome to the Zoom.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
So I'm gonna hand over to you in a second, but just before we get started, so yesterday, for anyone who missed it, we had a brief Instagram Live introductory session to kind of just introduce people to what you guys would be doing and what you'd be speaking about, which was really, really great. So if you were there, welcome back to AFWL. So I asked you during that conversation to kind of tell me just a little bit about the past few months for you and sort of how everything had been in terms of the whole coronavirus situation. And you had a really interesting response that I think I would like you to kind of reshare, if you don't mind, for the people who missed it.
Okay, thank you very much, Eniafe. Welcome everybody to this masterclass. We're really excited to be talking on the topic, how to get the most out of your connections. For us, this past few months have been really great as a business owner. And the reason I say that is because we've actually had the time to quiet down, gather our thoughts around how we want to push our business forward, engage more with our followers on social media and our potential clients, and really just put our brand out there. So yes, it's been challenging from a personal point of view, having to be home and homeschooling and all those lovely things we've had to do, adjusting to not seeing friends and family. But as a business, we've really taken this opportunity to grow our business, grow our brand, and think about where we want to take our business going forward. So from that perspective, it's been really great for us.
Okay, so today the two of you will be speaking on the topic of how to make the most or make the best out of your connections, which obviously is a very important topic for people in the creative industry, people in fashion. So I'm personally really, really excited to see what you have prepared for us and to learn from two seasoned professionals and experts in the industry. So without further ado, I would just like to say welcome again to everybody who's watching. Welcome to AFWL. I am now handing over to the Demuren twins to present their masterclass. So enjoy the show.
Thank you, Ania.
Thank you.
See you later. Oh, and sorry, just before you start, I would also like to say, feel free to drop your questions in the chat and in the Q&A as we go. Then once they finish, we're going to come back and have a sort of Q&A session at the end. So yeah, so you'll see me later, just in case you were sad that I was leaving. Bye.
Thank you very much. Brilliant. Welcome, everyone. We would like to thank you for joining this masterclass. Just by way of introduction, I'm just going to go over the introduction of who we are and what we do for anyone just joining us. So my name is Lola and my twin sister is Layo, and together we make up the dynamic duo that's Let's Dress You Up. Let's Dress You Up is a premium image consultancy firm. We offer image consultancy services, which essentially means we help people to create a brand identity through their clothing, through their looks, and obviously that's quite important. If you think about people like Princess Diana, if you think about people like Kim Kardashian, their brand and who they are is very much linked to the way they present themselves. We also offer bridal and occasion styling services and personal styling services. We're excited to be here today to talk on the topic, how to get the most out of your connections, because for us as a business that's up and coming, and we have been running formally as an enterprise for the past 18 months, with a limited budget, it's been really important for us to leverage our connections and to use those to really drive and push our business forward. So we've got quite a bit of experience in this space. And obviously you have the added advantage that the two of us in the business for us with connections that span across a broader spectrum. So we're really excited to sort of talk to you about what's worked for us, the approaches we've taken to actually leveraging and making the most of our connections. On that note, I will hand over to Layo, and Layo will take us through the first part of this.
Great. So can I have both? Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for having us. It's great to be here. Massive thank you to Africa Fashion Week London for this opportunity to collaborate, and for all the creatives and the individuals joining from all over the world. Thank you. It's great to be here. So for the next 40 minutes, we'll be taking you through some segments. We'll split the masterclass into 4 segments. We will start with networking. I will go on to talk about industry engagement and the importance and the role that it plays in pushing your business forward. And then I'll hand over to Lola, who will be talking about building relationships and collaboration. And the intention is to follow up with a case study, which will be a talk through, a show and tell of how we've collaborated in the industry and what's worked for us and the output of that. So I'm just going to get some slides up, share my screen. Bear with us. Okay. Right, Brill. So, networking 101. Right, we'll just get the tech right here. Thank you. That's teamwork makes the dream work. Right, networking 101. So in fashion, it is said that networking is a matter of life and death. And essentially, what we mean is who you know is just as important as what you know. So I'm going to try and move myself a bit better into the frame. Right, that should work. And essentially, I mean, we are all networking in our everyday lives. We're networking, you know, when we go to the supermarket or when we go to our day jobs, or if you're a business owner, when you go and you're out about your business. The difference between networking sort of on a more informal or less informal basis and networking in the business sense is that when you're networking in the business sense as a business owner, you are very intentional about what you want to achieve. So you will be thinking about phrases like your network is your net worth, and really trying to leverage those relationships and those contacts to get the best out of what you're doing. Networking is actually the process of interacting with other people in order to establish or to develop professional contacts. And so when I go through networking today, I will be cutting it into two segments. The first bit will cover the sort of face-to-face person-person interaction in terms of networking. And then I'll talk about the role of digital and the role of technology in networking. I mean, the first thing as a starter, the obvious thing will be, or the first tip that we've adopted, and what I will say for anyone looking to network and to grow their business, is the first few principles. And for me, these principles are really simple. It's be yourself, be professional, be kind. And by that, we just mean, it's a no-brainer, really. It's about bringing your authentic self, your real self to the equation, because that's what people will fall in love with. That's how you begin to build your network. When you are being your true self, is the time that you can shine the most. So that will be kind of almost the baseline for what to think about when you're networking. In terms of a structured approach, when you are going to a networking event, or when you're trying to network, whether it be in a large group or a big group, the main thing that I will say is, first of all, think about your image, think about how you want to present yourself, and think about what you want to say. So some of the things we would encourage you to do, for example, is to prepare an elevator pitch. And this is usually a 1 to 2 minute kind of really quick introduction of who you are. So for example, I might be saying, hi, I'm Layo. I'm an identical twin. I run a brand called Let's Dress You Up with my twin sister. It was born out of a passion to see women look amazing, to empower women to be confident when they go about their everyday business. It's literally a snazzy thing. So we would say, think about your elevator pitch and think about your image. And that's where someone like Let's Dress You Up can help you to put your best foot forward in terms of your appearance. Once you've got your professional with a flair look, that's what we like to call it, in place, the next thing you want to think about is, actually, where are the places that I need to be? So location. We would encourage you, when you are networking, to go to events, to go to seminars, go to exhibitions. You might decide to do this on a biannual basis, on an annual basis, on a quarterly basis. The important thing is that whatever frequency you choose to network, you always pick the places where you'll get the most impact. So really, it's about being proactive. One of the things you can do, for example, is ring ahead of the date of the exhibition or the seminar, and get the exhibitor list, or get the guest list, understand what the floor plan will be, that whoever the organizers are will be happy to share that with you. So you're kind of going to these events with some ammunition. And then once you've worked out who you might want to talk to or network with, the next thing will be approaching them. So confidence, there's a saying that goes, practice makes perfect, but I actually like to say practice makes permanent, which just means the more you network, the more you go to these events, and the more you do these things and you're intentional about it, the better you'll get at it. If you're kind of the shyer disposition or the introverted disposition, then it's perfectly fine to go with a wingman. And that person doesn't necessarily have to be someone who operates in the industry you're in. It could be just a friend or a colleague, a peer, who'll just come along with you and make those introductions and those initial conversations flow better and easier and put you at ease. You'll do the same thing for them, they'll do the same thing for you. So that's kind of what I'll say. In terms of once you get there and you're meeting people, it's really important to collect contacts. So collect as many business cards or contact cards and you might say, oh, actually, I know someone in the heart of Nigeria somewhere who makes amazing tie and dye fabrics. Why don't I send you an email tomorrow and follow up? Or, oh, I read this amazing book on how to drive your business forward. I'll send you a link to the book tomorrow. It's kind of just giving them something to look forward to. It means that following the exhibition or the seminar or the contact you've made, the day later or 2 days later, when you send an email or you make contact with them, whether it's via your social media platform or via email, you can at least reference that conversation and say, oh yeah, it was really great to meet you. here's the link to the book I spoke about, or here's the link to the merchant that I spoke about, and just start to really make that conversation a two-way conversation. Now, one thing that's really important when you are networking is to accept rejection gracefully. And by that, I mean, not everybody is for you. Not everybody will buy into your vision. Not everybody will necessarily see you as someone who's going to add value to their business. The important thing is to be gracious, because, you know, with networking, you're thinking long term. There's no immediate gratification. It's delayed gratification. You're just building these relationships because you don't know whether 2 years from now, or 6 months from now, or 5 years from now, there might be an opportunity for you to do something together. And Lola will talk a bit more about that when it comes to building relationships and collaboration. So there is delayed gratification at play there. So once you've done that, what you then do is follow up, and then, you know, reach out to them and try to get a relationship going, albeit a professional one. Now, that's the kind of personal face-to-face networking covered. Now we'll talk about the role of digital. We live in a digitalized world. Technology. One of the cheapest and easiest ways to reach your network, or to build your network and grow your network, is through the use of technology, whether that be the internet, the World Wide Web, whether that be Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. There's so many platforms there. We would encourage you to get out and use as many platforms as they're available. The only thing that you'll be paying for essentially really will be your time. So the time you spend engaging. The great thing about digital and the great thing about these platforms is not only do you get to put yourself out there, so it's not really just about posting pictures or posting videos. No, it gives you an opportunity to interact with your customers and your potential clientele in the future. What it also does is it gives you an opportunity to collect feedback and understand what it is that your customers want from you and how to reach them better. So little things like, you know, responding to comments that are and likes on your page. Those are just little tips and tricks, you know, we've managed to build some really, really deep connections just, you know, via our platform, from people who maybe have seen us and have liked something we had on, whether it's a lipstick or a piece of jewelry, whatever it is. But it's really great to use those platforms. I will say, don't jump in all at once. What I will say in terms of what's worked for us is build it up gradually. So you might be someone who starts with, say, Facebook and Instagram, and then a few months down the line, you put Twitter on top of that. A few months down the line, you might put a YouTube channel on top of that. A few months down the line, you might put your website on top of that. What I will say, it's absolutely crucial, whatever platforms you're using or whatever technology you are using to network, please keep them up to date. So when you're going to these events and you're saying, here's my business card, can I have yours? There is nothing stopping you in this digital world, in this era of technology we live in, from saying, oh, actually, I'm on Facebook at Let's Dress You Up. Follow me, what's your Instagram handle, or what's your YouTube channel? Can I subscribe to it? And just keep the communication going that way. But it is crucial for you to keep it up to date. The last point, which is really obvious, is use your existing network, use your existing personal contacts. So at any point in time, whatever your business is, whatever area you are in, the fashion industry, or indeed any industry, you will have friends and family, you will have personal contacts and professional contacts. Use those people first, whether it's just saying, I'm putting on a campaign, please can you post it on your own platforms, please can you share this with your friends and family. They will always be willing to support you. It's cheap, it's cheerful, it's fun, and it just makes sense to do that. So that's kind of the tips that I have in terms of networking. One thing that I want you to take away from this segment is that networking is never a waste of time, and you can never do too much of it. It's kind of a case of do as much of it as you can. And even if it looks like you are not getting reaping the initial benefits, just keep at it, because we've seen it work for us. Now, in terms of industry engagement, which is the next segment I'm going to move on to, and we've tried to chop this up into 10-minute segments for each one, so we should be done in about 40 to 50 minutes to allow time for plenty questions. Industry engagement is what I like to call the sister of networking. So there is an overlap. There's industry engagement more from the point of view of not necessarily what you are going to get. And I'll just move to the next slide. I will come back to this in a minute. I did want to talk about the networking map. I'll just quickly cover this. Now, the networking map is something that you can put together yourself. You can do this either using Visio or Miro, or you can even use PowerPoint. And it's essentially thinking about, it's like creating a mind map, all the people that are in your sphere of influence or your sphere of industry that might be able to help you with growing your business, people you might collaborate with in the future. So for example, let's dress you up as an image consultancy. We work with fashion designers, we work with photographers, we work with merchants, vendors to maybe that we work out your progressing your business, and as you network, and every time you meet someone, you go into your network map and you update it with that context there. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Industry engagement is the sister of networking. As I said earlier on, industry engagement is different in the sense that you are not thinking necessarily about what you're getting from that interaction, but you're thinking about the benefit that you can bring into this. So it's a two-way thing. And that's what makes industry, we are thinking out, you know, why? You're conscious, there's two words there. You're conscious about what you're doing and you're intentional about what you're doing for you to be able to get mutual benefit. The reason benefits you get from engaging in the industry. The first one will, like, your mentors, identify your competitors, identify what's happening. So by mentors, I mean you will meet people who are going through what you've gone through, or have been through what you're going through, or worked a similar journey, a similar path to what you're doing. You will meet those people. You can identify people who might be able to help you along the way, who might be able to give you some advice on how to grow your business and just develop and build your net. Industry engagement is, it allows you to see the industry through a holistic view. So it's doing, but we're looking at what other people within the industry is doing. The other thing, the other benefit of industry engagement is that it helps you to gain industry insights. And by that, I mean, it helps you to keep abreast of regulations in your industry. It helps you to understand what the trends are, what the new techniques are, whatever it is that's the buzzword, whatever it is that's happening. And a good example to point to is African fashion has been hot on the maps for sort of the last decade, especially in the last half of the decade. And, you know, a good example is someone like Stella McCartney, where she's inspired by African prints, and that was in Selfridges and Harrods, and they were selling it upwards of £1,000. But that is exactly what engagement does. It helps personal brands. And by that, I mean, what do you want to be known for in the industry? You want to be a subject matter expert. It might be your business image consultancy, and you want to be known for dressing plus size of what it does. You can become an SME. It helps you to develop and gain new skills, and it helps you to build a platform for yourself. The other thing industry engagement does is it helps you to gain industry engagement if you're actively and proactively going into the industry and engaging with people, engaging with your competitors, engaging with mentors and tutors to gain influence and visibility. You might want to think about how industry engagement helps you to understand the competition even, because what you have to bear in mind is the competition is also trying to engage in the industry. So it helps you to learn from industry experts, and it helps you to contribute to the problem solving within your industry. Now that's kind of the why. I'm going to move on to the how. So you might be saying, oh yeah, these are all great, but how do I engage in my industry? One of the ways you can do this is by signing up for competitions. Enroll yourself, get involved in awards, you know, get involved in competitions. If you're a creative, put yourself forward for competitions within the industry. Another way you can engage your industry is actually by giving back. And there's something we call doing well by doing good. That's going into the community and thinking, I'm an image consultancy firm. How can I help my community? So it might be that you go to a college and you mentor some young ladies. It might be you have skills or expertise. It might be in sewing, it might be in coloring, it might be whatever it is. Just giving something back to the community that you live within. And for that, what I will say is charity begins at home. So think about your immediate geographical location, the sphere in which you operate, your community, and how you can give back. You might want to volunteer for a leadership position or put yourself forward for something in your local council or in your local college, and just go and share your skills and expertise. Remember, I said at the beginning, it's not about what you get back, but it's also about what you can give to the industry. You might want to think about taking up paid memberships or subscriptions. So if you're a fashion designer, you might subscribe to magazines, you might subscribe to online paid memberships where you can learn about what's going on. I mean, African Fashion Week in itself, Fashion Week London, and the masterclasses is a good example of industry engagement. You know, it is an example of networking. It is a good example of collaboration. It's everything we're saying today on the tin. And what you'll find is that we'll come today, we'll deliver this masterclass. Somebody else will come tomorrow. We'll engage by listening to their masterclass. We'll glean and share experiences, knowledge transfer. And that is really what industry engagement is about. So you can volunteer. A really obvious one is just go and meet your customers. Go and talk to people, you know, go and meet them. Another way to engage with your industry is, like I said, by volunteering and putting yourself forward for leadership positions. That not only helps you to gain insight, but it also helps you to become a subject matter expert, and it helps you to kind of elevate your brand and elevate your business to a point where you are known for something. So that's kind of what I'll say in terms of industry engagement and networking. We are building a house today. I have laid the foundation with networking. We've put the pillars up, which is the industry engagement and insight piece. And I'm going to hand over to Lola now, who is going to roof it up for us with building relationships and collaboration, and also take us through a case study. Thank you very much, Layo. That was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I'm here in this segment to talk and collaboration. One thing I would say, I'll just take one air out because I can't hear myself. One thing I would say is, if you've got any questions, then please do pop them in the comment section, and we'll try and answer as many of them as possible in a second. Just quickly check the chat, make sure there's nothing that we're missing. Oh, right, okay. Hopefully, I think we had a problem with our connection, but hopefully it's all good now. Thank you, Bookie. Right. So I'm going to talk about building relationships and collaboration for the next sort of 20 minutes. I'll talk about building relationships first, and then I'll talk about collaboration. So building relationships, it seems like a really obvious thing. You've networked and you've engaged with your industry. The next thing you want to do is to start to build those relationships with people that you've networked with and that you've met. What we're talking about in this context is building strategic relationships. And this is different to normal relationships you might build in everyday life. And what makes it strategic is the fact that you are entering into that relationship and building that relationship, hoping to get a mutual benefit in the future. So think about it as there's an end result that you're hoping to be able to nurture. And that end result is there's an end result, and that's what you're nurturing when you're building the relationship. So mutual benefit in the future is what makes the relationship strategic. Why is it important for us to build relationships? Quite frankly, nobody knows it all, and no one is an island. No man or woman, for that matter, is an island unto themselves. So we need people, we need to engage, and we need to build relationships, because we grow, we develop, and we learn as business owners when we do this. We need to engage from a point of view that we want to exchange value. So we want to be able to achieve our aims. And when we work together, we build relationships, we achieve our goals more quickly, more easily, and most of the time more efficiently. So we know the what building relationships is and why it's important that we build relationships. I want to talk a bit more now about how we go about building these sorts of strategic relationships. So there are three key words: we build, we leverage, and we exchange. The first thing you want to think about when you're building relationships with people in this context is you need to invest in those relationships. And when I say invest, what I mean is you need to invest your time, you need to invest your knowledge. For example, you need to think about what it is that that person needs that you can offer. So what you're going to be thinking about is, I have some competencies that this person I'm in a strategic relationship with doesn't have, and how can I fill that gap? So you invest, you look for the needs that that person has, look for the gap in their knowledge, look for the gaps in their business where you can add value. People like relationships that add value. So that's the key thing to also remember. You're going to add value. You're going to build the relationship from a point of giving. And what you're going to give could be your competency, your knowledge, your time. Next thing you want to do is you want to leverage that relationship. And the way you leverage and what you leverage are actually your competencies. So you've identified as a business owner, this is an area that I've got strength in. For example, we're stylists, we're image consultants. We will have relationships with fashion designers, with creatives. You could have a fashion designer and creative that doesn't really know much about styling. They can create beautiful pieces, but they don't know how to bring it all together. So we've got a competency, and we don't obviously manufacture clothing. We don't make or design clothing ourselves. So we could look at someone who has that skill set and say, okay, you've got that skill set, we're stylists, let's exchange something. So there always has to be a leveraging of competencies. And once you've leveraged those competencies, what you do is you exchange the value within them. So that's why I said you build, you leverage, you exchange. And what you're exchanging is, I have something that you don't have, and you have something that I need, and we're going to exchange. We're going to do an exchange, a value exchange there. So simply put, building relationships is about investing in people. It's about leveraging your competencies, and it's about exchanging with value, exchanging values. So you might say, who are the sorts of people I need to build relationships with in business? Obviously, industry experts. So these will be industry experts across a broad spectrum. So just because you're a creative doesn't mean you only build relationships with people who are in your sphere. You should be building relationships with financial advisors, legal advisors, other competitors as well. So sometimes there's a bit of hesitation with building relationships with people who are competitors, but it's really key, because like Layo said earlier, it helps you to engage with the industry. You will understand what is on trend, what they are doing that you might have missed, and in doing so, you will exchange knowledge. So yes, build relationships with your competitors, direct competitors, indirect competitors, industry experts. What you have to remember is, and we said it, that when people are financially invested, they want a return. But when they're emotionally invested, they want to contribute, they want to help your business to grow. And we found that that's really helped us as a small up and coming business who hasn't had a big budget for things like marketing and PR. So yes, build relationships, invest in people, know what your competencies are, identify your weaknesses so that when you see the competency in someone else, you can leverage the relationship and you can have an exchange of value. So that ties in nicely to what I'm going to be talking about next for the next sort of 5-10 minutes, which is collaboration. Collaboration is something that I'm really, really passionate about. Like I said, as an up and coming business with a very small budget for things like marketing and PR, collaboration has been key to our success. So what is collaboration? It's essentially two or more people coming together, working together to achieve a common goal. I like to think of it as an extended effort exerted by committed people with a view to share or to achieve a common goal or common objective. So in collaboration, you have to have a goal. So you have an end result. There has to be effort. That's the heat and the drive and the energy that's going to help you to collaborate. And obviously commitment, which is sort of the inspiration and passion you bring to the collaboration to make it all happen. So why do we collaborate? It's very similar to why we build relationships. It makes good business sense. Collaboration helps us to achieve our goals more efficiently, more effectively, in a more cost-efficient manner, excuse me, and faster really sometimes, because when you think about it, with collaboration, you're bringing different skill sets to the table. Obviously, as a business, it makes sense because you save money. You save money because you do that value exchange I spoke about earlier when I spoke about building relationships. So there's an exchange of knowledge, an exchange of competencies when we collaborate. You learn, obviously, because when you interact with people, as you're collaborating, you learn about their skill sets and they learn about yours. You exchange knowledge, and obviously collaboration inspires creativity. And most of all, it's fun. It's fun to collaborate. It's an enjoyable experience. So how do we collaborate? There are two key things that I feel every collaboration needs to have, and I describe them as essence and form. And by form just refers to the operational side, how you're actually going to carry out the collaboration. But essence talks about the values, what you're sharing, the goal, the common denominator within the collaboration, what that thing is that both of you want to achieve that is bringing you together to collaborate. And in order to collaborate effectively, there are a few things that you have to have in place. We already said that it's two or more people or groups of people coming together to achieve a common goal. So the first thing that you have to have is a clear vision and a clear goal. The next segment, we're going to be taking you through a case study where we've collaborated successfully with different people within our industry. And what you'll come to see when we go back to that, when we come to that segment, is we had a common goal, a clear vision, something we wanted to achieve. And then we spoke to people and we looked for people that we thought would have a similar vision to ourselves. So that's the essence part of it, the value part of it that I was talking about, people that share common values and want to achieve the same thing as you. So you need to have a clear vision. You need to talk, have conversations with people about what you want to achieve. You'd be surprised how many people maybe want to do something similar in that space. And they're just sort of looking or waiting or hoping that someone else will come along and help them to realize that vision. So have conversations. Obviously, I've already said, build relationships, and you're going to leverage in collaboration. You're actually leveraging those relationships and exchanging value. Recognize your strengths. So recognize your strengths, recognize your areas of competency, understand your weaknesses as well, because when you go to collaborate, more than likely the people you will be collaborating with have something that you need, and you will probably have something they need. So you're going to do that sort of value exchange again. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about who you should be collaborating with. Obviously, everyone and anyone. You should collaborate with your competitors, so your direct competitors. Say you're a fashion designer and you want to put on a fashion show. When you think about the cost implications of that and the outlay, you could say, you could approach people in the industry and say, I want 1 or 2 or 3 people to come together for us to collaborate and deliver this fashion show. So collaborate with your competitors, collaborate with your indirect competitors as well, collaborate with anyone and everyone that's willing to collaborate with you to realize your goals, achieve your aims as a business owner. So hopefully I've given out some tips on how we can collaborate effectively and how we can build relationships. There's some questions, chat. Okay, I think we'll take the questions at the end. The panelists are capturing them, so we'll definitely try and address those. So I'm just going to move on to our case study. Now, as we said, as a business, collaboration has been key for us. We've said there are no failures, just experiences and reactions to them. We've, with having had a very small budget, marketing and PR, like I said, collaboration has been key to us. So we've built our network, and Layo showed you an example of a network map, and that was actually our network map, or a shorter, a condensed version of it. With the case study, I just wanted to talk about how we came to engage in this collaborative effort, and Layo will talk more about the operational part and what we did to actually make it successful. So as I said, every time you collaborate, you have to have a clear vision. So for us as a business, especially one that does image consultancy and styling, our vision and our goal was we wanted to create some interesting, beautiful, interesting and engaging content that we could use across our social media platforms. We could repurpose for use in the future. And we obviously didn't have a great budget. So what we did was we thought about the aim, which was we wanted to create beautiful and interesting content. We thought about what we would actually need in order to do that. So for example, obviously we were going to deliver that through a fashion shoot. We needed models, we needed hairstylists, we needed makeup artists, we needed photographer, we needed a venue, we needed actual clothing, so garments, accessories, etc. And what we thought was, imagine if we weren't collaborating, we would have to pay for a venue, we would probably have to hire or buy clothing, buy accessories, pay models, pay someone to do the makeup, pay a hairstylist. Before you know it, this cost have escalated. So we thought, great opportunity to collaborate. So we went back to that network map that Layo spoke about in the networking segment. And we looked at that map and we thought to ourselves, who are the people that we're going to need? And we identified people on that network map that we could collaborate with. And once we had done that, what we then did was we engaged with them and we had the relevant conversations in order. And what we did was we didn't just look on the network map and think, oh, these people can help us. We thought, would these people share the essence of what we want to do? Would they benefit? Is that this goal something that they would be interested in achieving? And obviously the answers were yes, because a photographer as well wants to showcase their work. So they want beautiful images they can use to drive their business forward. Same thing as a makeup artist, same thing with models. They want to increase their portfolio. They want to be able to go to agencies and say, I've done this sort of shoots, I've done bridal shoots, I've done contemporary fashion, edgy fashion, all sorts of things. So these are the sorts of things that we're thinking about. Who are the people that will share those values or would want to have, or would have a similar objective to us? So I'll just show you what we did in terms of the collaboration. I'll just take you through some images. We collaborated with about 8 different people within the industry. And this really was some of the end results of what we were able to do. So we decided to do a bridal shoot because it was something we hadn't done. And obviously it's a great big market for makeup artists, for hairstylists, for photographers, for bridal, for us as image consultants as well. So just sharing some of the beautiful images we were able to create. We created these images within a 3-hour window, collaborating with, like I said, about 8 different creators in the industry. And I'm just going to hand over to Layo now to talk us through the operational bits of what we actually had to do process-wise. So I'll just, let's share that. You can stay in the frame again. It's going to be a quick one. Right. I'm back. So I'm just going to take us through the steps that I took from an operation point of view. Like Lola said earlier on, it's important to have a clear vision. Once you've had a clear vision, you then start to look at your network map and the contacts in there, which I'm just trying to tie it back to what we spoke about earlier on, to establish who might be the right people to reach out to. And then once you've done that, you will write a to-do list or a task list, just as you would write a shopping list for your groceries. The important thing is to document that true list using structure. So you might want to use some apps or some software like Trello. You could just put it in Excel, or you could use Teams. It's just so that the vision is really clear. Once you do that, what I then did was I figured out who sat right at the top of the network map. So who's the person without which everything starts to fall apart, the most crucial person, and that's the person you reach out to first. So in the case of this example, it was the bridal stockist, the individual who owns the bridal shop, because that was where it all started. So once you've established who's at the top of the network map, you then proceed to engage with them. So, it involved a series of phone calls and emails and messages on Instagram, going to visit her and talk through the plan and the vision. And this is the bit about working together and collaborating. Incidentally, the bridal shop owner is someone who we had met at an exhibition. So, this is where networking 101 comes into play. We had met her, we had swapped cards, we had used her for a client and built a relationship that way. So it was really easy to approach her and say, oh, well, let's dress you up. We'd like to do this. Would you like to work with us? Once you've done that, you then need to confirm the time, the date, and the location. And that should remain fixed unless, something really unexpected happens, because that's kind of where you start to build further into your plan. You then go back to your network map and you check availability. Now you've got the time, the date, the venue, you've got a clear vision of what you want, you've got the first person in the network map that sits at the top locked down. You then check the availability of other people in the network map and you confirm. What I will say is flexibility is really important, and being able to adapt and change. You might, for example, want, 6 models, but maybe only be able to get 3, or you might want someone who's really tall and not get, just be flexible and be open. It's about the experience. The journey is as important as the destination. That's what I like to say. So once you've done that, sort out any contractual. So even though you're collaborating, there may be things that you need to just iron out, such as if you're taking images, who owns the right to the images, or how the images are going to be used, and when they're going to be used. That sort of thing. So sort out any contractuals, come up with a project plan for the day. So it's literally at 10 a.m. you need to be here. It's really a really high, not high level, a really low level detailed plan of what's actually going to happen on the day. Like Lola said, we only had 3 hours to deliver this. So we needed to be sure who needed to come in when, who was doing hair and makeup when, who was dressing up, who was taking pictures when. So that's really important. Communicate, communicate, communicate. You can never over communicate when you're collaborating. It's better to have too much information than too little. So that's what I will say. You might want to do practical things like set up a WhatsApp group, or set up an email group, or a Teams group, and then cover any other admin, the softer side of things. So refreshments, think about things like access to parking. Just think really ahead of the day of the things that might make the experience fun. And the last bit, or second to the last, is have fun, enjoy it, enjoy the day, enjoy collaborating, make memories, take silly videos, just enjoy it. Or some of the best pictures we actually got from the shoot weren't actually the ones out of the lens of the photographer. It was us on our iPhone just being silly and, you know, just taking shots, take candid shots and enjoy every bit of it. And then once you've wrapped up the actual collaboration, establish deadlines. So at what point are you going to send images out? At what point are you expecting the photographer to send you images? Little things like that. So hopefully that's just a quick whistle top tour of what I did and how you could go about collaborating, and some of the things to think about when you are collaborating. I think at this point we can say thank you and hand over back to Eniafe to take us through the Q&A segment.
Hello, can everybody see me, hear me?
Yes, we can see you and we can certainly hear you.
Fantastic. So thank you so much to Lola and Layo. That was an incredible, incredible session. I've learned so much. I've been taking notes as I was going along. So I really liked in the intro section about networking, some of the notes I have, you know, who you know is just as important as what you know. I thought that was really powerful. We network every day without knowing. You know, it's so obvious, but it's, you know, it's really interesting to sort of think of it in that way. It's like actually even just your day-to-day interactions in some way could be helping you build towards that future. You know, ideas about thinking long-term and, you know, delayed gratification, so important. And one of the things, another really, really key point, collaborate with everybody, even your competitors. I thought that was so powerful as well. So honestly, so many nuggets there that I think are really, really worth holding on to. So at this point in time, I'm going to invite anyone in the chat to drop any questions. I already have a few lined up that are coming, but if you have any more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat section so that I can present them to Lola and Layo now. So are you ready for the first question?
Yes, we are ready.
So the first question, I believe it came up during Layo's session. So the question was, do you think it's wise to start a business in this Corona climate? Wants to start, I think they mean, I want to start a fashion, beauty, and cleaning brand. So yeah, so is it wise to start a business at this time, given the coronavirus?
I'll answer it since it was my segment. Yes, you know, there's no time as good as the current time, regardless of what climate we will be in. I think what you need to do is, it's not a question of if you're passionate about it and you want to do it, I would say probably I personally wouldn't delay it, but I think what you need to do is, like Lola said, you then need to be very strategic about your approach to it. So probably maybe now is not the right time to throw in a whole load of capital into a business, you know, because the economy is a bit slow. You might not get your investment back, your return on investment back in a short space of time. But what you can do is take some of the tips that we've said today. So really start to think about, who's my target customer? Who's my target market? Engage with the industry to understand the customer, understand the competition. These are all things you can do without breaking the bank, without even spending a penny really. What's out there that I can access? And then once you've done that, start to develop your own network map, you know, what you might want to do, what your network map is, who's in your network, who's within your network net, and then leverage that. I did say something about use your existing contacts. So you're starting a business, speak to people, speak to your friends, your family, get them promoting for you, get them, you know, posting on their social media platforms, get them telling their friends. There is nothing as powerful as word of mouth. And then the last thing I will say about starting a business is be your own brand ambassador. You are the best example for pushing your business forward. Grow your own personal brand. Wear it, if you're a creative, wear your own designs all the time. I think someone had said that in one of the earlier masterclasses. You know, collaborate, send out samples, whatever it is you're producing, send out samples to your competitors, to people. That's kind of the advice I'll give. And just take things one day at a time. Don't try to conquer Everest all in one go, but, you know, take things in their stride and just stay passionate and positive.
Okay, love that. So I have a question from Pinky Galani. And it reads like this. When it comes to building relationships in the digital world, how do we intentionally build this? Pre-COVID, we could invite someone for a glass of wine or a coffee and build on that. But right now, if you ask for a meeting, especially online, it becomes a bit formal, and there may be a reason that one needs to give in order to meet. So when it comes to building relationships in the digital world.
Yeah, I'll answer that question. I think we obviously we're living in unprecedented times, and we're all having to adapt. So everyone has had to adapt the way they live, the way they do business. For us personally, we've actually found that your reach is actually so much more when you're using a digital a platform, if you like, for example, Instagram Lives. It's an easy way to engage. Yes, meetings are good, but what you have to do, I think, first is make your brand interesting. Engage with your audience, engage with your customers, engage with your competitors. We already said in one of our slides that when people are financially invested, they want a return. But when they're emotionally invested, they want to see you succeed. They want to help. They want to have the conversations. So I think I understand the point of we can't go out and meet people, but we can. The world is our oyster. And the reason the world is our oyster is because we've got all this technology that underpins everything we do now that we can leverage and use to reach a wider audience. And think about the people you're trying to meet. Not everyone, like Layo said, when you're networking, not everyone's going to be willing to engage with you, and you will get turned down at times. But all you need is for one person to say yes. So if one person doesn't want to give you a meeting, graciously accept that they're not in a position to do that and move on to the next person. Look at your network map, look at your sphere of influence, look at people, engage with your industry so you understand people, you've got a wide breadth of people you could potentially be meeting with, and just move on to the next person. Don't give up. Someone will give you an opportunity.
Okay, so the next question comes from Addy Hotspurs. As you know, this is a very difficult industry to crack. What sets you apart from your competitors?
Should I answer that? God, I think
everyone.
No, not really. Do you know, I just feel like there's a market for everybody. What sets us apart is the fact that you're getting two very individual people in a business where your personality, your image is really important. So as a personal stylist, what you're trying to do is help people to create a brand identity, a visual representation of themselves. And so everyone's ideas of what that will look like is different. We think that our unique selling point is actually that we come as a package, two for the price of one. And it might sound cliche, and but our styles are very different and our outlooks are very different. And I think that's the great thing that our clients get. Because when you come to us for a service, you don't get one of us, you get two of us. You get two perspectives, you get two outlooks, you get two visions, and we work together because obviously we're twins and we work in synergy. So we're just able to deliver that extra value for money, is what I would say. That extra value for money that you wouldn't get somewhere else. And I do appreciate that other styling outfits will have a whole list of people perhaps on their payroll, but we own this business, and so we're passionate about it, and we're passionate about our clients being empowered and getting the most out of it when they come to us for a service. So yeah, that's what I would say, 2 for 1.
So I have a question here that relates very closely to that from D. Dyer, who asks, do you think you've had it easier to grow because there are two of you working on this and because you both have the same passion?
Should I answer that? Easier to grow, yes, I think so. I think visually, because we're visual beings anyway, you know, whether or not we want to, we realize it. People do key into they're like, oh my God, you're twins, you look alike, you know. There is that element of we have visual impact, which we do leverage and which we do use, because it would be stupid not to. But I think also in terms of having reach and being able to, because we are professionals, we do have corporate jobs as well, but being able to divvy up the work, and really how we've done it is we've played to our strengths. So there are things that I'm strong at that Layo perhaps it's not her area of strength, and there are things that she's very strong at. And also our backgrounds are very different. My background is in law and her background is in sort of human resources and projects. So we're really able to work harmoniously. So yes, it has been an advantage for us that there are two of us and that we share a common passion, a common goal. We've been on this journey for for quite a number of decades together. And so we've been able to, we already know our areas of strength and our weaknesses. So we've been able to play to that to our advantage, I would say.
Okay, so the next question is also from Addie. It is, given the economic downturn, what are your plans post-COVID in relation to sustainability?
That's a really, do you want to answer that? Question. No, okay.
Or do you have any plans in relation to sustainability?
Well, yeah, I think we do have plans. Like I said, we've really taken this time to sit back and engage. So we've been doing we've always done a lot of networking, but to sit down and engage and understand our audience and think about what we want to do post-COVID. And also I think COVID has really forced business owners to think outside the box and think creatively about how you can push your business forward. So I think technology is going to play a big role for us in terms of sustainability, and we've started to key into that. So I would say for every business owner, think about that, because I think with the way things are at the moment and the restrictions of movement and the challenges in the economy. And I also think for us, we're thinking of how we can deliver more value for money, because I think that will be key as people start to cut back and think about the areas that they need to sort of tighten their belts and how they need to use the income that they have at their disposal to achieve their aims. So I think thinking about how you can deliver more value for money will be very key to sustainability.
So I have a comment from Didayo who says, I'm going to be a savage with networking and collaboration moving forward. I have a comment from Tem AD who says, love it, Lola and Layo. A comment from Bims, excellent delivery at Let's Dress You Up.
Thank you, guys.
Pinky Galani wants to know, how do you get your competitors to collaborate with you? So you touched on this point about collaborating with everybody, not just, the people that you really like, rivals, not enemies per se, but even people that are sort of in the same industry that you would think are sort of, keep them as far apart as possible. So you've advised us, actually, reach out to those people as well. There are ways you can benefit from one another. But how do you actually go about doing that?
Okay, I'll let Layo answer this one.
For me, it's really simple. You have to have a unique selling point. You have to be bringing something to the table that someone's interested in. Right, whether it's your personality or whether it's your skill set, your expertise. And this is where going back to the issue of having a mentor, becoming a subject matter expert, networking with the right people, all these things, it's like a jigsaw, different pieces of the jigsaw, and it all comes together. Now, think strategically. If you've got a list of people that are your competitors that you'd like to collaborate with, it's as simple as approaching them. Lola said things. Some people will say no. Value not only to your brand, but to somebody else, to their brand as well. I think that discussion, I think in an industry like fashion, collaboration is very, very, it's very common, it's commonplace, it's welcome and it's embraced. Perhaps not in other industries as much as this, but I would definitely say that one of the things is really about being able to sell your business, being able to sell what you bring to the table, and you'll get people lining up to collaborate with you.
Okay, so
Can I just add, sorry, I was just going to add to that
go
as
for it.
well. Approach is very key. Approach is very key. So think about how you want to approach your competitors, because obviously you're in the same space and you could potentially be vying for the same clientele, but approach is very key. What you have to have, as I said, is a clear vision at the outset that says, this is what I want to achieve. And think about people who would be interested in achieving similar goals or would benefit from achieving similar goals. And those are the people you should target when you look at your network map or when you're thinking of collaborating with them. Another tip is you could actually decide, for example, if you're a fashion designer and you design women's clothing, you could decide to collaborate with someone that designs men's clothing. So in that case, you're both in that space, or maybe you do men's and women's clothing, but when you're collaborating with someone, you decide, I'm just going to do, for this fashion show, I'm just going to focus on women's clothing, and I'll give you an opportunity to showcase your men's clothing line or brand. So it's give and take. So you've got to think about how you're going to approach it, and what you give a little carrot on the end of the stick to your competitor for them to want to collaborate with you and work with you.
So Shegun Okegami says, thanks so much. Your presentation was great and gave me so much food for thought. When it comes to finding your personal style, could you please offer some tips? And also share a bit more about how you would help your clients to develop their personal brand style.
Okay, I'll answer that. So your personal style, gosh, it's without meeting a client, it's really difficult to say, but there are a number of things you have to think about. You have to think about what you do. So you have to think about your lifestyle. You have to think about what you want people to think of when they see you. When you present your authentic self, what sort of visual represent? So image consultancy is all about a visual representation of who you are. So I guess a good starting place would be for you to understand who you are. So understand who you are and understand what you want people to, the kind of emotions you want people to go away with when they have an encounter with you. And in image consultancy, that's what you actually are doing. You're teaching and empowering people to present the best version of their own authentic self. So if you want to create a brand, sit down and think about a brand identity through your looks. What sort of person am I? What sort of things do I like? And when people meet me, what are the sorts of things they say? So I'm really bright and out there. I'm quite, flamboyant in my style, and Layo is a bit more reserved, but it is reflective of our personalities. So your brand identity, in terms of the way you represent yourself visually, needs to reflect your personality. That's the key thing. So you need to know who you are, first of all. And if you don't, we will work with you to tease those sorts of things out by understanding your lifestyle, by understanding what you do, by understanding the kind of places you go to and the kind of interactions you have. I think there was a part B to the question, but I can't remember it now.
Do you want me to repeat the part B, or do you want to just move on?
Yeah, you could repeat it if
so. I'll just repeat the question from you. So it said, your presentation was great and gave me so much food for thought. When it comes to finding your personal style, could you please offer some tips? And then also, could you share a bit more about how you would help your clients to develop their own personal style?
Okay, so how we help our clients, that bit. So we work with you extensively. We will, like I said, have conversations. We have to talk. We need to understand what you do. We need to understand what you want people to know when they leave you, or how you want to be perceived when people have an encounter with you. Your budget also comes into place. What you do for a living comes into place. The kind of people you're networking and engaging with comes into place. Everything has to be appropriate. So, if a lawyer, for example, probably wouldn't be able to rock up with something like this on an everyday in a professional capacity. And I think, so we will just work to understand you, and we will help you to create an image around that and a visual representation of your authentic self, whatever that may be. Apologies.
Okay, so I have one final, well, technically two questions, but I'll merge them into one. Very
Okay.
easy one. So I have a couple of people who are interested in knowing, if you need models, how can I apply? And someone else says, how can I model for your bridal company, please?
Okay, so yes, we are great one. Please follow us and at Let's Dress You Up, our Instagram handle. You can send us a DM to at Let's Dress You Up. That's one word without the apostrophe. Or you could email us at info@letsdressyouup.com. Or alternatively, you can visit our website, www.letsdressyouup.co.uk, and just send us a message there and we'll respond to you. So yeah, we're always looking for models. So yeah, we're happy to hear from you. And just as a final thing, for anyone who doesn't follow us or anyone watching this masterclass, please follow us. We engage with our followers on Instagram heavily. So as I said, at Let's Dress You Up is the handle. And if you want to find out a bit more about our services, please go to our website, www.letsdressyouup.co.uk.
Fantastic. Lola and Layo, Demuren, thank you so much
Thank you
for this
having
incredible talk. There have been so many nuggets, as people have noted in the comments. I think everybody who was watching hopefully will have a lot of things to take away, a lot of things to think about as they go forward. Just before we wrap up officially, I would like to say, so Africa Fashion Week London, along with the Masterclass series, has online courses called Fashion Futures, which is in partnership with Henley's Business School in the UK and Parsons Design School in New York. And we have scholarships that are available, so please make sure you head over to the AFWL website for more information. That is africafashionweeklondonuk.com, or go to Instagram, Africa Fashion Week London, and click the link in our bio there. Lola and Layo, before I dismiss you, is there any final thing that you would like to say? Any closing remarks? Any current projects that you're working on that you would like us to know?
Well, a YouTube channel. We're working on a YouTube channel, and we are going to do something slightly different with our Instagram live sessions going forward. We're going to have guests in now that we can be together, and we're going to focus a bit around coaching people and building confidence. So helping women build their confidence, and men, and adopting a healthy lifestyle, and how that all comes to play. But closing remarks, what I will just say is, if you leave here with nothing else, start to think about how you engage your industry, start to think about how you build a personal brand, start to think about being intentional when you're networking, start to think about how collaboration is absolutely crucial and we should collaborate with everyone, and start to think about giving back to your community and really doing well by doing good. So not only thinking about what you can get from these relationships, but also what you can bring to the table, and putting yourself and your business in a visible position by, volunteering or going for leadership positions, or, going to award ceremonies and things like that. So that will be it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Africa Fashion Week London, for having us. Brilliant example of collaboration. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've enjoyed every single minute of it, and we hope to work together closely in the future, in the not so distant future. To everyone listening, take care, stay safe, stay alert, control the virus, save lives. That's it.
Bye-bye.
Amazing. Thank you so much to everybody who has watched. I hope everyone has really enjoyed this session. Make sure you follow Lola and Layo at Let's Dress You Up. Support them, support Black businesses, support African businesses, support African entrepreneurs, all the above. Follow Africa Fashion Week London. You can follow me at Enyafe Momodu. I can't wait to interact with you all some more, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great afternoon.